Let's get this indie show on the road. Hello everyone, welcome back to A Fictional Escapist. My name is Kris, and today's video is the indie releases for September of 2023. Now we have quite a big list to get through this month, so we're just going to jump right in. Before we do, I just want to again make sure you know that these lists do not come from me. These come from Rob J. Hayes' blog post, which he puts out each and every month, and also the calendar over at Epic Indie. If you have an indie book that is coming out for the remainder of the year, make sure you're putting them on the radar of these two blogs, just so we can make sure that we are covering off as many indie books that come out this year as humanly possible. Now, there are going to be a few sounds that you hear around the place. I'm on a main road, the washing machine is going, we've got 20 suburban dads who are all mowing their lawn at the same time, but the show must go on. Let's jump right into the list, and if you haven't already, make sure you check the description box down below for links to my social media and Discord should you want to come along for the ride. First thing we have going on in the month of September, releasing or has released on September 1st, is Wolf in the Void. This is the Grand Game book number 5 by Tom Elliott, and this is an entry into the progression, cultivation, lit RPG world. It is a book 5, and as always with sequels, we try not to go into too much detail. We are going to take a look at this cover though, because I love purple on sci-fi fantasy covers, and this is just stunning. And I mean, it makes me very interested in the series as a whole. It looks like this person is about to get chomped in a number of ways. Also happening on the 1st of the month that has already been released is Psychic Storm book number 2 by J.J. Eckhart. This is the Sisters of Aphrodite, and I'm really not sure what this series is about. This one was entered into Epic Indie. It just says a dark look at a future where humanity has gained psychic powers through an undetermined event that killed a majority of the population and altered forever those who survived, which sounds pretty dope, to be completely honest. But again, book 2, we're not going to go too far into it. Moving on from there, on September 4th, we had a big name in indie fantasy come out with a first book in a new series. This is, of course, Once There Were Heroes, A Time of Dragons book number 1 by Philip C. Quintrell. Now, I hope I pronounced that correctly. It may be Quaintrell. I'm not sure. Don't come for me. Philip, if you ever watch this, let me know how to pronounce your name correctly, and I will do so from now on. This is a book 1. It is epic fantasy. The cover is also epic with those lovely purples coming through and a touch of gold in the font there. It says, "The gods are dead. In their absence, there can be only chaos, only war, and they are not all that is faded from the world of Verda." This one has quite a long blurb. It all sounds pretty cool. I encourage you to go and check this one out. I've not read any Philip C. Quintrell before, so someone tell me if I should pick up the first series. I'm not sure if this is a carry-on from the first series, but it does say it is a book 1, and I know a lot of people are very excited about this. On the 5th of September, we have The Dryad's Crown. This is Tales from Ephraim Ussel, Book 1 by David Hopkins, and this is epic fantasy with a lovely white sort of plain cover in the background there. It says, Silbury returns to the port city where she was first taught to kill. While there, she discovers there is more to her troubling past, something magical and foreboding far beyond the familiar cobbled streets. Silbury must decide if she'll take her revenge against the cruel guildmaster who trained her, or is mercy even an option? What begins as a fairy tale transformed into a sweeping multi-generational epic about love and loss, a woman with a strange connection to the natural world. Also on the radar for the 5th of September that is already released is Of Visions and Dreams by Ella Walker Henderson. It's number 6 in an epic fantasy series, and the first line says, "War has come to the land of legends," and that is a sentence that excites me already. I do not want to go into this series in too much detail. Spoilers, it is a book 6 that we are dealing with here. It looks like we have a lot coming out on the 5th of September because there's another one, Liberation, The Keepers of Midgate Book 1 by R.M. Krogman. This is also epic fantasy, and it says, freedom to live, freedom to kill. A prisoner scarred by his past, suffocating in his desert hell. Desert. I'm in. A crown prince bound by his family's tragedy, a mere princess stripped of command and promised to a human. All must shed the shackles that bind them, but the darkness of the world is spreading quickly. Madness in the streets, a ravaging sickness of the body and mind, and enemies at every border. Those gifted with magic, those bonded to dragons, those with a heart for righting the wrongs in the world must decide how to use their abilities. For with freedom to live comes the freedom to resist, to fight, and to kill. This one sounds very good. On the 6th of September, we had The Goodbye Kids by Debbie Iancu Haddad. I'm sorry if I pronounced that incorrectly. This is the Children of Stars Book 1 and is YA and a sci-fi space adventure. It says a million stars but no friends. Plus-size teen Haley grew up friendless on a space station thinking she'd never fall in love. She spends her time with her robot dog Nano dreaming of the days she'll leave the remote station and become an intergalactic pilot. Haley's plan shatters when Jordan, a boy on a suicide mission, drags her into his lethal scheme. Jordan Lund isn't the chosen one. He's the guy who volunteered. Raised by his controlling father in an eco-terrorist cell on Earth, Jordan volunteers for a mission to save the planet. He has 4 months to travel to the space station, build a bomb, and blow up a spaceship. Falling in love is definitely not part of the plan. When Jordan arrives on the space station disguised as a traveler, Haley's access to the station's restricted area makes her an asset. But Haley has a strict rule: no new friends, because traveler friends always leave, taking pieces of her heart with them. As the two grow closer, strange events wreak havoc on the station. Amidst the growing danger, can Haley stop Jordan before he breaks her heart and destroys her home? That actually sounds really cute if you are into a bit of YA sci-fi romance. On the 7th of September, we have an entry that I'm excited to read at some point in my lifetime, and this is The Mark of Valaith, Book 2 by M.H. Woodscourt, The Marked Prince. I read The Shattered Ark earlier this year, had a really good time with it. This is an epic YA fantasy, and the first book was really, really enjoyable. The first 2 lines of the blurb of this one says, "Called by truth, stalked by death." Moving on from there, on the 8th of September, we had To the Gilded Depths by Lily Ann Crow, one of my personal favorite author discoveries of 2023. I think this author is super underrated, and the War of the Whispers series sounds like it's right up my alley. I can't wait to read this at some point in my life after I finish the 2 other series that I have ongoing by this author. But the cover for this one looks absolutely incredible. We've got some underwater situation happening, and I love me a bit of underwater fantasy, so I'm looking forward to getting to this one at some point in my lifetime. Then we have a release on the 11th of September by a buddy of mine. This is the Craven Chronicles Book 2, Echoes for the Storm by Mr. Cam Sinclair. This is going to be a wild ride of a book. The first book is grimdark fantasy that doesn't take itself too seriously. It's there to get on the wacky side of grimdark, and it does it so unapologetically. And this one on the cover of this book is the young lass called August, and I'm very much looking forward to learning more about her story as she grows up. But it is a book 2, so we won't go too far into it. Again, another one that I'm really excited to get to, and one that I'm going to be reading this month, so you can look out for a review for that one in the coming weeks. The 12th of September, we have a book that a lot of people are really excited about. This is Hybrid Helix book number 4 by none other than J.C.M. Byrne, Shadow of Hyperion. I've been told time and time again to read this series. It's on the cards for 2024. I promise it's going to happen. But this is a book 4. We won't go too far into it. And from the looks of things, there is a man fighting a dinosaur on the cover. Honestly, where could you go wrong with that? This is a much loved sci fantasy series here in the indie scene. On the 13th of September, we have Metanoia, The Ruined Gods, Book 2 by Alex Robbins. I love these covers, these grey-white covers with these pops of color. They speak to me on a fundamental level. I really like the cover for the first book, and I love the cover for the second book here. It says, "As above, so below." These look incredible. I can't wait to get to this series, and by can't wait, I mean reading it between now and when I die. So at some point in my lifetime, hopefully I will get to this one. Then we jump over to the 16th of September with Stolen from a Dream by Niranjan K, a name that is no stranger to these lists. The gods of Belteros were not a kindly lot. They were petty jealous, and cruel. All his life, Pethiel and his sisters, Lethia, had steered clear of the gods, the secrets of their bloodline, as well as the warning uttered by their mother prompting their decision. The last thing they need is for the gods to discover their truth and the extent of their magic. However, when Pethiel and Lethia save a stranger from drowning, they are forced to reveal their magic. Even worse, Pel develops feelings for Belthin, who is no ordinary man. He is the chosen sacrifice of Ufta, one of the gods, and the city of Nagia and its warriors would kill anyone who keeps him from them. Even worse, Lethia and Pethiel discover something about Belthin that could tear their entire world apart. Something far worse than the armies of Nagia, and the wrath of Utfa is coming for them. The gods have seen them, and they are coming. But sometimes even the gods are powerless against one man. That again sounds really cool. This is another entry from Niranjan K. On the 18th of September, we have a book 4 by Mr. David Green, another series that I really do need to start at some point. This is At Eternity's Gates, Empire of Ruin at book 4, and this gets classed under epic fantasy, grimdark, and also sword and sorcery. David Green is a name that keeps popping up on my suggested for. I really need to read some of their work, and this cover looks epic. This series sounds epic, but it is a book 4, so we will need to move on from there. On the 18th of September, we have one of the most gruesome and brutal covers that I have seen in 2023, and that is A War to End All by Michael R. Fletcher and Clayton W. Snyder. This is the Manifest Delusions book number 3, and another author that is very well known in the indie sphere that I have not yet read. On the 21st of September, we've got a couple of entries that I'm super excited about. The first one is A Treatise of Air. This is the Edinburgh Doctrines Book 2 by C.L. Jarvis. This is historical fantasy / Gaslamp. I've recently read The Doctrines of Fire, which is book 1 in this series, and I really, really enjoyed it. The tagline for the book 1 was a academic rivalry turned deadly, and the tagline for this one is it takes a scoundrel to catch a thief. I cannot wait to get this one under my belt and have read it because I really liked book 1. It was such a unique flair for fantasy. So if you like historical fiction and if you like dark academia with a little bit of magic, you're going to enjoy these books. Also coming out on the 21st of September is Vows and Ruins. This is the Legends of Vesmar by Helen Shura. I apologize if I did not pronounce that correctly. Helen Shura writes epic fantasy or epic fantasy romance and is quite a big name. I hear Helen's name come up quite a lot in the spheres, but I've not read any myself. Another one that I'm personally quite excited about coming out on the 21st of September is the Nameless Throne. This is the Inkweaver Archive book number 1, and I love that series name, the Inkweaver Archive. Just let that settle in. This cover looks epic. It's icy. There are dragons in the background. It's got that bright blue shining through just to really get that cold tone. And this one is classed as epic fantasy. An ambitious orphan, a ruthless warlord, an impossible destiny. Aya Nameless is a lowly raider posted to an isolated fort in the most dangerous place in Dunedin. She has few prospects, and as much as she loves her fellow soldiers, she burns for more control, more autonomy, more power. When her bravery during an unexpected attack leads to an offer to join the household of one of Dunedin's warlords, Aya finds a home and family she never expected. Yet her quicksilver temper and fierce pride put her place there at constant risk. And as her warlord embroils them all in dangerous political game to rule Dunedin, over the border to the west, the Night Stalker lurks. A king who wields powerful magic, the Night Stalker's fate is inextricably entwined with Aya's. Aya's, I think that's how you pronounce it. Her relentless pursuit will force Aya into a choice she doesn't want to make, between loyalty and love and taking hold of the destiny she was born to fulfill. Which will she choose? This one sounds really cool. I can't wait to have a good read of this one. I pre-ordered it. My pre-orders for September 21st this year are ridiculously stacked. Also coming out on September 21st is a name that needs no introduction here on the channel, and that is Philip Chase's third book in the Way of Edan trilogy. Book 3, Return to Edan, is coming out on the 21st of September. I very selfishly have not read these books yet. I don't want to be influenced by the hype train behind them. I want to go in reading them relatively blind, so I'm not going to read the blurb here. So I do want to wait until I can absolutely binge this series one month after the other. I want to wait till that hype train dies down, but I am very, very interested in it. So congratulations, Philip. again, if you ever see this on the release of the third book in this series. On the 23rd of September, we have The Ice, which is being released by another man who needs no introduction here in the indie world. That is Ryan Carhill. This is the Bound and the Broken 3.5 in his epic fantasy series. I personally only read The Fall, which I enjoyed for the most part, and I will continue this series at some point. But from what I hear, people are really enjoying his writing as it progresses through the series, and The Ice has a lot of people excited. On the 25th of September, we have Soultaming the Serpent by P.H. Hammond. And if this was not epic fantasy / romance, I would be so tempted to pick this up because look at this beautiful purple cover. Jun never knew adventure until she took her first step out of her village at age 60 and then found a young man, which only led to more adventure and stories, some of which point to home. The last dragon died half a century ago, and Jun Weaver still dreams of the rain that hasn't fallen since. Her mundane life takes a turn when she encounters Aurel, who she suspects may be the one that holds the key to restoring balance and is destined to find the elusive serpent from the prophecy. Joined by Casey, Jun's closest friend, and the village brewer, the three embark on a journey to unravel the prophecy's intricacies, figure out what the serpent's role truly is, and why the dragon has to die. Follow our trio as Jun discovers a love of adventure, Casey's devotion takes an unexpected turn, Aurel spills his secrets like dust in the sand, and the three of them discover the true power of their bond. This actually sounds really sweet. It sounds like a nice sort of cozy fantasy story, maybe. I don't know, don't quote me on that. I've not read it. But it does sound like it could be lovely. On the 25th of September, we have The Sunset Sovereign by C.D. Hook. I'm sorry again for pronunciation. This is sword and sorcery / cozy fantasy. When a dragon finds an assassin sneaking into his lair, he tells her of his life's work and his soon-to-be final chapter. For the past 1,000 years, the Dragon Vadanki has watched the people of Vakeford grow from a wandering band of refugees to a glorious city of art and magic. Under his protection, the city has survived monsters, floods, and wars, all without building an army, dam, or even a wall. But time changes everything, and now the citizens of his beloved city want him dead. Vakandi spends his last day telling his assassin why he loves them and why it's his time to die. This sounds devastating, but also incredibly beautiful. So this one may be one that I end up picking up. Who knows? On the 25th of September as well, we have Bringer of the Scourge by M. Daniel McDowell. This is epic fantasy / grimdark. That is one hell of an artwork there. It's giving me very Warhammer vibes on the front of this cover here. It says the prophecy that has governed Viraline's entire life is about to be proven true. The fall of Castle Talor is imminent. Peasants and enemy forces alike aim for the throne. In that same castle, the land-living daughter of Tyrant King awaits, locked in a tower cell for the prophesied apocalypse that only she can prevent. To escape the castle with the aid of her closest counsel, Viraline takes a formidable ancient weapon from her family, a holy suit of armor, and a diadem infused with the soul of a demon prince. This sounds awesome. With this power, she is unstoppable, but its presence is corrosive. She amasses a swarm of true believers in a fate she finds even harder to deny. Viraline is haunted by what it means for her to tame the power she has been given, and by what means she might conquer the bringer of the Scourge. For, if the prophecy she dreads is true, the weapon she wields might destroy everything she holds dear. Again, on the 25th of September, we have Arctic Druid by Stephen Reeves. This is a YA cozy fantasy. It's got nothing in the blurb so far, but it does have a nice blue cover that we can all have a look at over here, which is coming out later this month. Moving on to the 26th of September, we've got Throne of Blood by Angel Hayes. This is Battleborn Mage Book 2 in the epic fantasy and sword and sorcery world. I've looked at the first book. The blurb of the first book is incredible. I won't go too much into the second one because it is a book 2, but I am also going to read this series at some point in my life. Have you gotten the pattern here? I'm going to read a lot of these books at some point, maybe. Finishing us off on the 30th September, we have Creation. This is Surge Caller book number 9 by Todd Hersman. This is a progression fantasy / cultivation fantasy. series, and I know that my friend Mark Timoney has really enjoyed these books going through them and is excited that book 9 is coming out at the end of the month. Again, it is a book 9, so I won't go too much into detail, but I know that some people are very excited that book 9 of this one is coming out. Those are the books coming out in September of 2023 in the indie world. Are you excited about anything? Let me know in the comments down below. If you like this content, give it one of those. If you want to see more of it, click subscribe at your will, and I'll catch you in the next video. Ciao.